It's witchcraft.
Hey, it's 4:20 a.m. Hi, and welcome to book 3 of Your Stories, where you, our fabulous, wonderful, amazing listeners, send us in all your ghoulish and ghosty experiences and let us read them on the air while smoking mass amounts of cannabis. If you're new to this podcast, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with this intro.
And that's what they love.
That's right. Welcome to the Stoned Witches Hour, book 3 of Your Stories. A little bit too high due to some pre-gaming of this delicious, delicious cultivar I'm smoking. I am Layla.
And I'm Chelle, and I'm just, these are my favorite episodes. I love all of your episodes, don't get me wrong, but these are my favorite.
It is a blast to read everything that people send in. I adore the stories, the stone stories, the witchy stories, the ghosty stories that everyone sends in. And every once in a while, we cultivate all the best of them.
We read them.
And we read them. But I know it's been a hot minute since the last time we did Your Stories, and I want to apologize to everyone. There was a little bit of an email glitch, and I may or may not have lost a bunch of them. So
They're techno gremlins.
Techno Gremlins ate your stories. My apologies.
I think it has like some retrograde effect because I lost a bunch of messages on Instagram. I've had some like work technical issues. I think it's just the retrograde techno gremlins, man.
I'm going to go with that. We're going to say that the retrograde techno gremlins ate all of your fabulous stories. So if you would like to be included in the next book of Your Stories, we have done some good spells, some banishing and protection spells on our email. And we're pretty sure that the techno gremlins have been taken care of.
Well, and a boot in the ass to Gmail helps too.
That's right. So send your stories if you'd like to be included in book 4 of Your Stories to thestonedwitcheshour@gmail.com.
Before we get into that, we've got to first get into something even more important than listener stories.
Oh, what could be more important than listener stories?
What we're smoking.
Oh, yes. And one more thing, actually, before we even get into what we're smoking.
What?
I have a review to read for you today, Chelle.
We got a review?
Well, yeah, we get them all the time.
Actually review us? What do you got? What do you got?
What I got for you is probably one of my favorite reviews ever. And the reason is because I love everything that they say. This is exactly what I'm hoping to do when we started this podcast. This is from Jules 1005 on Apple Podcasts. And Jules said, "Best pod ever," and gave us 5 stars. "These ladies are the best. They're so fun to listen to and find the best stories to tell. They're such good friends. They make you feel like you are part of the podcast. They're always getting super high and sharing what they're smoking. I love that because it always gives listeners new bud ideas to try. I love to turn this podcast on whenever I'm doing chores, gardening, or smoking a fat bowl. They are good company to have in your ear. Keep up the great work, ladies."
Aw,
Isn't that
thanks.
nice?
That's awesome.
I love that. So, Jules, I am smoking a big fat bowl with you. I hope I'm about to spark up some of this fabulous gelato dream that I'm smoking.
Ooh, of course you always got gelato or Jack Hare or something like that.
Oh, yeah. You know, gelatos are my absolute favorite. I have a sweet tooth for the gelato cultivars, big time. And this one is phenomenal. It's one that I grew myself. It has got some nice little purple on it. And I would have to say this is one of the higher THCs that I've had in a while. And so I'm going to go a little bit slower on this today because I have not had a 36% THC in a minute.
You're the editor extraordinaire. You're like the techno brains of this operation. And I just want the listeners to know, I don't know how she's going to edit the intro to how good it makes it sound, but Layla is really fucked up today. And the intro took her a good 4 minutes. So whatever she's spoken, she's really struggling to speak today, and I love it.
I'm a little tongue-tied. It's true. My thoughts are ping-ponging all over the place. This is definitely, again, this is my own, so I have not tested it.
This sounds like cleaning weed. This is like what Jules says. You get up and you just pack a big fatty and you start cleaning.
This is something I would use to work in my garden while listening to other people's podcasts and music because I can't keep a straight thought in my head, and I definitely want to be up. I'm very smiley. I'm very happy. Want to be moving around. So this gelato dream is absolutely fantastic. It's a sativa dominant. And as you know, I love my picky bitches. But it is very sweet. All these gelatos have delicious tastes. I'm not sure exactly what terpenes go into a gelato, but I know that they give it kind of that almost a dessert-like taste combined
That's
with
what
the high
gelato is,
THC.
silly.
Exactly. So it's named so well. It's perfect. So what are you smoking today, Shell?
I got this stuff. Now, here's the thing with this. This is another one of those, like it gets you up and peppy and perky, but you start getting hangry, okay?
Mm.
This stuff makes you hangry.
You don't have any sparkly peeps this time, do you?
No, I eat them all.
Oh, good.
But I do have a leftover big, huge coconut cream Easter egg because, I don't eat my Easter candy in a timely fashion. So, we might be munching on some coconut cream Easter eggs today. We'll see how that goes. We'll call it a post Beltane Easter candy treat. So, this is called Midnight.
Ooh.
I like it. There is, I feel like this is another one of those that I can manipulate. Either I can be uppity or like relax. I wouldn't say melty, but
Mhm.
relaxed.
Okay.
Now, this has, let me see. So this is 27.7. Wait, no, I lie. Total cannabinoids, 29.5.
Oh, nice.
The THCA is 27.75. The THC 9 is 1, blah, 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 blah. I don't really care about all that stuff. Here's the thing that grinds my gears about this one. It tastes like I'm smoking a bundle of sage.
Mm.
Like I feel like I'm in a damn ritual, but instead of smelling the sage, I'm smoking the sage. Like it's very, I don't even know if piney is the word. It's very planty. This was the weed that they used to call grass because it tastes like grass. Like it's very planty.
So it's probably pinene. Pinene kind of has that a little bit piney, more of an herbal, like green, grassy taste.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what this is. This is like
Yeah.
not that beautiful citrus flavor, lemon flavor. No, 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 no. It's
No.
beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's just very earthy tasting.
So if I were you, I would stay away from cultivars that have pinene. So if you look on that label, does it have percentages? I know some of the ones you've had before have actually had terpene percentages on them.
This does not.
Ah, that's a bummer. You could ask the people like what the dominant terpene profile is, and if it has pinene in it, I would stay away. You've mentioned a couple times that you don't really like that particular taste.
Yeah.
Pinene and terpinolene are the two that are very piney, but terpinolene can be a little sweeter and a little more floral tasting.
For as much info as they put on these damn labels, can't they just say this shit tastes like grass? This shit tastes like lemon. Can I have some descriptions? Like, if you are going to print a label with a bunch of crap on it that I don't even give a shit about, could you at least print on there what it tastes like?
Yes, I'm with you. I've seen on wine and I've seen on cheeses in different stores where they'll
Right?
have what it tastes like, right?
This tastes like a gym sock. Okay, that's what I want.
That's right. But if it says, this tastes grapey or this tastes floral or lemony, maybe the people that work in some of these places could write quick little notes, a comment about what it tastes like or
I
was it
mean,
calming or
they're putting on here that it was tested. I don't know how they're testing it, but in my mind, somebody's rolling a big fat joint of this shit and testing it for us. Can you at least write down what it tastes like?
Yes, I would like that. I like to know what's in it. I like to know the chemical makeup when I'm buying something. I like to know what the THC is for sure.
When you shit yourself, if you and I got a phone call one day and they were like, "Dear Chelle and Laylla, the government would like you to come and help federally regulate this shit. We need your ideas." And we would just be like, "Dude, okay, let's start with the labels." And then the
Fuck
thing.
yes, I'm so there. Call me up. I would love that job. I will be the high empress of weed for the whole country. Shell and I, we got this.
I'll just be fine being the weed princess. You can be the empress of weed, and I'm just gonna be the weed princess.
Okay, you can be the princess of weed. I love that.
And you'll be the empress.
We also get to taste test everything and write little cards about what they taste like.
Dear federal regulators, please send us an email at thestonedwitcheshour@gmail.com.
And offer us the weed job of our dreams, damn it.
You don't even have to pay me, man. Just let me smoke
Yeah,
and test it. Okay, I lie. You're the federal government. Give me a little bit of money here.
right. They can spare it.
Yeah, you got
Give
it.
me health care. Damn. Health care and all the weed I can smoke. They don't know what they're getting into. That's all I want. I'm just a short woman. I'm not very big. I just want all the weed I can smoke. That's all. Pretty please.
That would be such a costly adventure for them.
Yeah, but we would absolutely love to label them all. But yeah, that would be better, I think. If I could find a weed shop that actually let their employees taste test the cannabis that they got and put little labels on everything about what they thought about it, I would love that.
I mean, you go to some of the stores here in Massachusetts and they'll be like staff pick or staff choice of the week. So you know these guys are testing it. They're not just randomly picking something to say staff choice.
Right.
If you've been into any of these dispensaries, these people are smoking their product. I promise you. If it's a staff pick, it's because they got blazed on it.
And if I go into a place, I will ask a bud tender. Now, I've not had as good of luck as you. Occasionally, I'll get a great bud tender when I ask them, well, what do you like? What tastes good? What has a good high? You know, they'll usually have something that they like or they themselves have tried. So at least there's that avenue if they don't necessarily know where it was grown or when it was harvested or what it tests at.
I do take that avenue sometimes. If I'm looking at something and I'm not sure and I never heard it before, I'll just be like, hey, have you smoked this?
Right.
I just cut to the chase. Have you smoked this? Is it good? Did you get really, really high? I just ask. They tell you. They have no shame in their game.
That's right.
You know what I've been hearing lately?
What?
Just real quick before we get into the stories, I want you to explain something to me. Shell-splain it. You need to shell-splain it.
Shell-splain it. I'll try. Hit me.
A lot of people, a lot of older people, older than us, have said.
So older than dirt is what you're saying.
Correct. We'll just call them more of the closer to the boomer generation. How about that?
Elder Gen X.
Elder Gen X. Yeah. They're saying that they don't, like, one person in particular I encountered a week or so ago said they wouldn't even bother smoking weed nowadays because it's nothing like it used to be. Like, I'm talking like back in the 70s and 80s, and they're like, it's so skunky now. Am I missing something? Because I was somewhere the other day and I kind of walked into a room and someone was like, why do I smell skunk? And I'm like, I feel like my shit don't smell like skunk, but yet I'm hearing this all over and I'm hearing that I smell like skunk. So does weed really smell like skunk and I'm just immune to it? And why does it smell like skunk now and it didn't 40 years ago?
I think that this deserves like a multi-part answer. The first part is they're full of shit. And the second part is weed is more potent now, and we do breed for more of a smell and a taste than people ever used to. Funny comparison, look up cannabis pictures from like the centerfold from High Times from like 70s, even 80s, and then look at weed now. Vastly different. It looks like the worst homegrown that your buddy's buddy kind of grew in his closet with a light bulb.
It probably was grown that way.
Probably. And you remember what that shit looked like. And you remember that it was half stems and seeds every time. And sometimes we'd have brickweed we'd have to peel apart and there would be fucking mold in it.
Yeah.
When I say brickweed, children, I mean literal weed that was compressed into a brick.
You had to peel the buds apart.
They were flat.
Peeling them.
I do. And I remember the little trick with the magazine and a credit card so that I could separate my weed from the seeds easily.
Yep.
The people that are saying it's skunkier now are a little bit correct. It is more potent now. I wouldn't say it's necessarily skunk itself more, but it is smellier and tastier and stronger.
Okay, because I just want to put it out there. One of the people who said I smelled like skunk was my dad.
Oh, yeah, he's a boomer.
And I'm just like, I don't think I smell like a skunk, but I guess I do.
A lot of those people, I think, never really were smokers.
Or they were really big stoners back in like the late 60s, early 70s, and then slowed down and haven't been in the game recently and now think it's different.
Right. And it is. It is.
Life is different, folks.
Life is different. That's right. Things get better.
So we're here for a reason tonight.
And it's not just to get high.
Well, we won't tell them that. We are going to talk about listener stories.
Yes, we do have listener stories. That's right. We're not just hanging out.
Just think, they are getting just as high as we are,
I
probably.
hope so. Jules, I'm smoking another bowl for you. So light up, girl.
And you know what? I'm getting, what was that phrase? Had something to do with us getting higher than rhinos.
High enough to kill a rhino.
That's it. We're there. We're there.
I am going to start this out with a little bit of a sad news.
What?
I have had a loss recently. We've talked about my 100-year-old grandma,
We did.
whose birthday we celebrated in April. She unfortunately passed away this month. She did make it to 100, and that's what she wanted to do. And she was surrounded by her very large and loving family. So, a couple of these stories I know have to, pardon me, do have to do with grandmothers. So, I picked them specifically because of that to honor my grandmother. You know, she did love a good story. So,
Now, was your grandmother into ghosts?
a little bit, yeah. She definitely believed in ghosts, and she does believe that her husband has come to her, and she would see people in dreams. She wasn't really necessarily a huge believer.
Okay, okay. Just a little bit is all it takes.
All it takes. And I am hoping, Grandma, if you're listening, I would love a sign or a dream from you. So I'm going to dedicate this episode to Jennie May, who turned 100 this year and is now traveling in the stars with the loved ones that have gone before. So all hail the traveler.
Damn it, Jennie May, will you please come to Layla because she needs a sign. She wants a
Right?
sign. So, how about I jump in first?
Go
Because I
for
got
it,
a really
girl.
good one.
Give it to me.
This story was sent from August M. Love the name, by the way. August writes to us, when I was 6 years old, my family bought our first black lab. You can't
Aw,
hate black labs, right?
love labs.
Oh my God, they named it Magic.
Oh,
I
that's a
love
great
it.
name.
August and Magic were inseparable. And when August was 18, Magic passed away from a heart tumor. That's
That fucking
shitty.
sucks.
That's fucking shitty. I'm very sorry. Of course, August was absolutely devastated, obviously, and had a really hard time getting to sleep afterwards because she always slept in the bed with.
Mhm.
A year later, they got another black lab, and then this weird phenomena started to happen. August wants us to note that it should be noted that the lab refused to sleep in the bedroom. Funny, probably knew it was already the other lab's room. Didn't even really like going into it at all. Always looked intently at spots and then would quickly leave. They would bring him onto the bed and try to get him to sleep in the room, and he would jump right off and cry to be let out of the room. And August would sleep with the door closed. So August knew that the dog wasn't coming in, but one night, tossing and turning, all of a sudden felt as if someone had jumped in the bottom of the bed.
Oh, so the new dog is they shut the new dog out of the room because she wouldn't settle in the bedroom where the other dog had died.
Correct.
So the door's shut.
Correct.
But August felt the dog jump up into the bed.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
obviously, as you can imagine, there's no dog in the room
Right.
like that you can see. As you can imagine.
That would freak me out. I'd love it though.
August's exact words were, "It freaked me the hell out."
Ah, that's funny. See, I'm with you, August, right there. I'm right there with you.
Then, just like she would always do when she was alive, it felt like four paws were moving in a circle trying to find that quote unquote sweet
Oh,
spot before the covers would just gently press down at their feet.
oh, I'm
This
gonna
happened every
cry.
night for weeks.
Oh, their old dog was coming back.
Yeah.
Oh.
August kind of felt like, oh, am I going a little cuckoo here? But one night it was really annoyed because August woke up and was kind of getting a little pissed off at the way that this ghostly spirit was kind of pushing and shoving and making its way.
Hmm.
And August yells, "Magic, go bug mom." Kind of said it out loud, half jokingly, but didn't actually fully believe that it was magic. And
Hmm.
the next morning over breakfast, the mother looks at August and says, "The strangest thing happened to me last night. I swear like I felt magic jump onto my bed, find a comfy spot and lay down."
No shit.
So basically, August told the freaking dog to go to the mom's room, and the dog sure as shit went to the
You
mom's
are
room, got her
kidding
on bed.
me.
I'm not kidding you. I don't make this shit up.
That's awesome. August, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. August never told their mother that they thought that Magic was jumping on the bed every night because, shocker, didn't want to come off as crazy.
Right, right. You just sound like sad, like you missed your pet, obviously, as you
Yeah.
would.
After the mom had said this and said that, obviously August told the mom what was happening and had said that they had sent Magic to go bother her that night. So August and the mom cried because you feel bad.
Yeah,
And they kind of felt like they didn't want Magic to feel like she's been replaced.
yeah,
It was kind of a sad thing. I'm just imagine the mom was probably like, what the fuck? So after they cried for a little bit and we're kind of reminiscing about Magic, later that week it just stopped all of a sudden. August told the mom that they hadn't felt Magic jump on the bed in the last few days. And the mom said that when August wasn't home, she went up to the bedroom and told Magic, we love her and we'll never forget her and she could never be replaced and it's okay to rest
Oh,
now.
oh wow. I wonder if they realized they were doing magic when they
No,
did that.
check this shit
Like
out.
literal magic, not the dog magic.
Check this shit out. Ever since then, the new lab has slept in the bedroom every night. They think that Magic basically gave the new dog permission to be in the room.
Oh,
And the mom and August still tell people the story. They have no explanation for it. And they believe that she came back to spend a little bit more time and show the new puppy how to be a good boy.
oh, that's so sweet. Sad, but sweet.
I was going to say it's like heartbreaking, but heartwarming all at the
Yeah.
same time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because, here's poor August has this damn dog from the time they're 6 years old to 18. Like, that's like getting a limb cut off at that point,
Yeah.
truly. And then I don't know what's worse, to have Magic come back or have Magic leave for good the second time.
Well, as someone who has lost a 15-year-old dog, I think coming back would be really nice. It would hurt, but it would feel really good too.
You know what I loved about this story? Well,
What's
I
that?
loved a lot of things about it, but that dog was territorial even after,
Yeah.
do not come in my room.
Was like, hey, you've got a new puppy. This is my person. This is my bed.
Right. And the fact that the dog was like, okay, guess I'm not welcome in this room. I'll go sleep out in the hallway. Thank you. People don't give pets enough credit for having that. I don't even know what you call it. Second sight. I don't know what you call it.
We've talked about that on this podcast before. Animals seem to sense things and that
Right.
we give a lot of weight, a lot of credence to incidents where an animal also senses that there's something there. And in this case, this dog obviously sensed that there was a problem or something in that room and it wasn't welcome. And then it was comfortable, after they cried and let go. And then the mother went up and did that releasing spell.
Maybe they didn't realize that, it wasn't a bad thing. The new dog wasn't scared. It wasn't like barking, like there wasn't an evil entity, there wasn't a portal to hell in poor August's bedroom.
Surprise, they're everywhere else.
The story comes across like the two dogs had a mutual respect.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I love that too. That's very
So,
sweet.
August, we appreciate hearing your story about your sweet, sweet Magic. As much as I know that Magic has crossed over to a different realm, I do hope Magic comes back and visits again.
Well, that would be so nice. Let us know if she does. All right, so my first story does involve a grandmother, and it is from someone called WilliJack. So WilliJack says, my wife was given her grandmother's antique clock, a cherished heirloom that held a special place in her heart when she moved into her first apartment. When she first received it, the clock would chime every hour like clockwork.
Isn't that what clocks are supposed to do?
Yep, exactly. But all that changed after her grandmother passed away. The clock's chimes stopped and would only chime when there was something significant happening in our lives. It went off on our wedding day, the day our first child was born, on birthdays, and every first day of school for the last 5 years.
What the hell happens if it's not a birthday or anniversary and it goes off? I'd be shitting myself.
Right? Every time it chimed, we knew something important was going to happen. One day a few months ago, I had to make a quick run to the store for some cigarettes and a soda before work. I knew I'd be leaving a bit later than usual because I was picking up a coworker who was also a good friend to go to a job site, so I figured I had some time. When I returned at 7:01, my wife told me that I had just missed the clock chiming. I wondered if there was anything special happening that day, but couldn't think of anything off the top of my head. As I stepped out onto the deck to call my coworker, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I tried calling him twice, but there was no answer. Just as I was about to give up, his girlfriend answered the phone. "This is Becky. Gary isn't going to make it to work today. I found him dead 10 minutes ago."
What?
I was speechless. My mind was racing, trying to
I'm
process what had
speechless.
just happened, right? Then, just as I was about to collect myself, the clock chimed again at 7:19 a.m., as if to confirm what had just occurred. I was stunned. Until that moment, I had been a skeptic when it came to ghosts and the paranormal. But this experience left no room for doubt. It was strange how the clock only chimed when something significant was happening, and we never quite understood it. But we were grateful for the comfort and reassurance it brought us. It was almost as if it was a way for our loved ones to communicate with us from the other side, letting us know they were watching over us.
But scary as shit. Like the clock chimes, and you're like, oh shit. Now what?
Right? Oh my goodness. Good story.
I wonder if they still own the clock.
I'm curious. I would like to know. And I wonder if the grandmother had any experiences with it, because she gave it away to this woman and it seemed fine. It didn't get weird until after the grandmother passed. So I wonder if the grandmother had any kind of experiences at all with it beforehand.
You know what I noticed about grandmothers?
What's that?
Weird shit happens and they don't tell their family, and they're like, here, take this. Don't ever let it out of the family. Just keep it forever. I can't tell you why. And then all this weird shit happens. That's such a freaking grandma move.
I want to do that. I am going to collect weird objects and I'm absolutely going to pass them down if I ever have grandchildren. I will pick children. I don't care. I'll pick your grandchildren and I'll pass them weird and mysterious objects. Totally the kind of old lady I want to be. I dispense Dybbuk boxes and demon brushes and weird dolls. That'll be my old lady gimmick.
If you have any of those, let us know.
Because Layla's going to hand them out as the weird old auntie that everyone needs.
Ah, shit. My grandkids are going to have some crazy shit because of you, damn it.
Right? I've already got that book from the Whaley house that's haunted. I need to get to your grandson.
Ooh. He's still a minute away from reading, so you got a second.
I got a minute. So, what's your next story?
So my next story comes from a fine listener, KD. So KD sent us this great story. Now, KD, first of all, I want to put out there is one of our peeps, a New Yorker. Shout out to the New Yorker. So KD writes, years ago, I was living outside of Buffalo, New York on an old estate on the Lake Erie shore. I rented a carriage house of an old mansion that a doctor and his wife owned. The doctor was a heart surgeon and they were a well-to-do couple with multiple properties.
There's a lot of those people along the Great Lakes, have to say.
I know, right?
Have you seen those houses? Damn.
It takes a couple pennies to own them. So the people who owned it weren't around a lot. KD liked the solitude of the place, and having just gotten divorced, although the carriage house was slightly decrepit, KD loved living there. The mansion looked over the lake, and her house was closer to the road off a private drive that went from one side of the estate to the other. The carriage house had servants' quarters, and whoever lived in the mansion at the turn of the 20th century had servants. Lucky. There was an enclosed courtyard outside my door that was bordered by the back of my house. The carriage barn, which had stored carriages in the back, like with horses and buggies. This place sounds like a mansion. Sign me up.
I would love a carriage house.
It was a very cool place to live. The rent was cheap, and there was a private 150-foot beach. What?
This has to be old because there's no way in this housing climate you could find that. It's not possible.
Very isolated, as if there was nobody staying in the mansion. There weren't any close neighbors because all the houses along the road were big estates, and a lot of the rich people living in the area weren't full-time residents. But KD was young and brave, and it was a big estate full of decaying spookiness.
That sounds fun.
KD writes, I am a weirdo that likes that kind of stuff, so I was overjoyed.
Us too!
Our
Damn,
kind of
Katie!
people. So Katie continues on. One night I was coming home late around 1 a.m. from a friend's house, driving down a street a mile or two from my house. I saw a dark figure up ahead standing close to the road. I thought that was kind of odd because it was late on a night on a weekday, not exactly a party town in the Buffalo South town.
Right?
No shit. Like in upstate New York, we can only party on Friday and Saturday. Thursday if it's a good week. Katie started to get a little nervous because the person was standing as if they were waiting for someone to pick them up. And as Katie got closer, they could see that they were wearing an unusual black shroud-like thing.
Like a cloak or something, maybe?
I guess. Long and dark and draped, with a part of it wrapped over the person's head to look like a hood.
Sounds vaguely cloak-like.
But it just like a bunch of material wrapped around the body and the head, and it seemed totally inappropriate for what Katie knew of the people that lived in the area. That wasn't commonplace for like the
Sure.
local yokels,
Yeah.
okay? Especially not outside at 1 o'clock in the morning on a weekday. And the person was just standing by the side of the road looking stooped over and old. KD slowed down to a crawl as they approached in the car, worried that the person needed help, which, you know, you'd start to think that at that time of day. You know, they thought maybe it was an old senile person who was lost, maybe confused. When they got close enough to see the person, she lifted her head and looked towards KD and saw that it was her ex-mother-in-law.
What the
Now
fuck?
that would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, that does sound kind of scary. Why the fuck's her ex-mother-in-law lurking about on the road at 1 a.m.?
KD was absolutely positively sure it was her. The same gray brown hair, same eyes, same magnetic smile that had always made her wonder what she was thinking but never saying. The woman raised her hand and waved at KD. Not a stop and help me, but more of a, hey, it was nice to see you kind of wave.
That's flippin' weird. That would freaking weird me out. Strange clothes, 1 a.m., mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law? No, that's weird.
KD had the shit scared out of her.
Fuck yeah, Katie.
And the reason being is because the mother-in-law had died 3 years previously.
Oh shit! You could have led with that, Chelle. I mean, whoa. Damn, way to bury the lead there.
Mother-in-law wasn't hitchhiking.
Mother-in-law was dead.
It was her ghosty. Like, first of all, KD, I'm real sorry, because if anybody's gonna haunt my ass, if it's my mother-in-law, I'm just gonna die.
Yeah, that would be kind of like a whole demonic thing. That would be terrible.
Like, out of all the people I want to haunt me, seriously. So anyway, so Katie sped up and kept driving, hands shaking on the steering wheel. No shit.
Right?
But, you know, after a few deep breaths, a little composure, KD says, I should go back and take another look. Now, that's a fuck around and find out moment. I love it.
That's a you thing, not a me thing.
Totally a me thing.
Yeah,
I'm like, all
not
right,
a
let's
me
put this
thing.
shit in reverse.
I'd be like, I'm going home and I'm warding the fuck out of myself. And you want to go back? No.
Luckily for Katie, she says, my mother-in-law loved me. I couldn't imagine her ghost would appear seeking a revenge on me for divorcing her son, who had not treated me well, to say the least.
That would kind of make a slight difference in my decision to go back or not.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure what the significance of this is. She drove in a square by making left turns and went down the same road again, but there was no one there. Why the square?
Oh, I think she was just saying she turned around, basically.
Oh, okay. All of a sudden, she was too freaked out to go back to her spooky carriage house with the weird sounds and the 100-year-old history, with nobody there but her and the ghosts that she was convinced probably inhabited the place. So she drove to the local all-night Greek diner and sat there for an hour drinking coffee and calming her nerves.
That's probably a good idea because
Yeah.
if the veil is thin enough and shit's going on enough to have your mother-in-law be on the road to your house, not even a place that's attached to her, it's a place that's attached to you.
It gets worse.
Oh yeah, I'd be scared to go back to my house that could already be haunted, for sure. That's energy afoot.
KD continues, when I finally drove home and into the courtyard, I could see that something was wrong. My door was standing open, my glass window was broken, and the door cracked almost all the way through from one side to the other.
What the fuck?
Someone had destroyed the door to get into the house. The next day, they found a crowbar in the courtyard thrown off to the side.
No
But
shit.
the only thing is that they noticed missing from the house were a few pieces of clothing, super creepy, and a
Creepy.
jar of loose change and a knife from the kitchen.
Did someone fucking break in the house and her mother-in-law saved her ass? Holy
Maybe.
fuck.
So she was just divorced and not exactly loaded to the gills with cash, so she didn't really have much shit worth stealing. Why take somebody's clothes? What kind of creeper is that, by the way?
Honestly, that's the part that disturbs me the most because of the true crime cases that I've covered. A lot of them stole people's clothing. A couple of them broke in, like the BTK killer, broke into a woman's house in order to kill her. And when she didn't show up on time, he stole some of her clothing and left and mailed it back to her, which is how she knew she was there. So that's like a serial killer thing. Several of them have done things like that. So that
And
creeps me out.
as you can imagine, KD was very scared that someone broke into her house that she lives in all by herself in an isolated area. Hello, upstate New
Yeah.
York, isolation central. But they had to, KD thinks they must have driven right into the courtyard and would have been hidden from view when they broke down the door. KD called the cops. No one was ever caught.
Wow. I
Yeah.
think her mother-in-law was warning her away.
And that's what she says with all the upset of the break-in. It wasn't until hours later that she remembered even seeing her dead mother-in-law waving from the side of the road, dressed like the Grim Reaper. KD is convinced that somehow she appeared to delay her from going home, and that if she had driven straight to the carriage house, whoever was breaking into her house probably would have been there waiting
Yeah,
for her or whatever.
absolutely.
It could have turned out worse. It could have turned out deadly for KD.
Yep.
Listen to this shit. I love this. So now KD writes fictional horror stories and even wrote a whole ghost story novel.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, KD wants to put out there that this story is actually 100% real life true. It's not a part of her novels, and she knows that that was no matter what her ex-mother-in-law that she saw that night that saved her.
That's amazing. I believe
Yeah.
that. I've had a similar experience that I believe I recounted in, I think the one with Tom, maybe, where a ghost, I think, saved me from possible doom.
Can I tell you?
That's wild.
Can I just tell you KD's parting advice?
Sure. What'd she say?
KD, if you're listening, I am saying this with a chuckle. You know, she's half right, damn it. And I don't want to admit it.
Uh-oh. What'd she say?
It is KD's recommendation that people should remember to be nice to their mother-in-laws because she might help you out even after she's dead.
I am so glad my mother-in-law and I get along.
But oh my God, imagine okay, I've never
That's
had that
wild.
experience before, and I know that you've had something similar happen, but I never have. I've never had like a ghostie save me from peril. I mean, I've had a ghostie warn me of divorce. I guess you could call that peril. But I mean, that's like some serious shit to be like, oh
Right?
my God, the ghost literally just saved my life.
I wonder if there's a classification of hauntings that's like that. Like, there's the banshee, the fae folk that announces a death by screaming. You'll see
Right?
this. So I wonder if there's some type of ghost of shade, something that warns people of
A
danger.
dead mother-in-law cult.
Yeah, sure. I don't know, but I wonder if there is some type of
Ghostly guardians.
yeah, there's the lady in white trope, there's the hitchhiker trope, there's the
There might be ghostly guardians.
yeah, I wonder if there are. So if you have a ghostly guardian or you have ever been helped out by a ghost, email us, thestonewitcheshour@gmail.com.
KD, I love your story, by the way. And I do have one question. I want to know if the mother-in-law ever haunts your ex-husband.
Or if she ever showed up again. I'm quite
Yeah,
curious.
yeah. Or, if you're kind of like witchy inclined, have you ever tried to reach out to her? Have you gotten the old Ouija board out, some tarot cards? Like, I need to know why your mother-in-law is so wonderful.
Yeah, do a little ritual, say thank you. Burn her a candle. I would. Damn. I'd buy the best incense and the most expensive white candle. Fuck yeah.
All right, what's your next story? I love these. These are so exciting. I
These
love this
are
shit.
so great. I do have a quick question though for all you witchy bitches out there who are also stoners. How many of you have ever cleaned a bowl using the end of an incense stick? Or am I the only one?
I think the better question is how many of you have not cleaned a bowl with an
Oh,
incense stick?
yay, I'm not the only one. All right. Got to use what you got, man.
Hey, it's a good poker.
All right. So this one is mother-son story, actually.
Oh, I'm a mother. I got a son.
This one was sent to us from Cosmic Mom 73. And she says she's always had a bit of a sixth sense when it comes to the paranormal, and it runs in her family. She says her grandmother has it, and her son even had it when he was younger. But she says that unlike her and her grandmother, her son has since blocked out the experiences. But up until he was around 13 or 14, he used to sleep in her room just so that he could feel safe in case he saw something.
Oh shit, what's in the poor kid's bedroom?
She says that for herself, she hasn't seen ghosts in a little while. She says, the last time I saw a ghost in my bedroom was a few years back. I woke up in the middle of the night and saw a tall woman in an old-fashioned dress from the 1800s standing at the foot of my bed. It was unnerving, but she didn't seem hostile. What's with the end of the bed? Like, that happens a lot, right?
It's because they want to fuck with your feet, damn it, while you sleep.
Oh, that's why we keep our feet under the blankets to protect them. I get it. Okay.
Actually, my real question is are these apparitions that appear in your bedroom and at the end of your bed, whether you are cognizant of it or not, or are they some sort of relative?
I don't think so. She does say that she's seen other ghosts. She says that she's seen a teenage boy who looked like he was suspended from her ceiling. A Native American, yeah, right. A Native American man in street clothes holding a bunch of dried flowers at the end of her bed, and a young man standing by her dresser with his back turned to her wearing Dockers.
Damn, it's like a party in her bedroom.
Right? So it seems like they're coming to her. It almost seems like these ghosts are, for whatever reason, maybe they know her family can see them. And so they're coming to her rather than being ghosts of that room, maybe.
It's like when you pick up the phone and call somebody, you're going to call somebody that you know is going to answer. You're not going to call phones that you know nobody's going to pick up. So these ghosts could be coming and being like, okay, we know this one's listening.
She says, the most vivid sighting I've ever had was in college when I shared a dorm room with a roommate who didn't believe in the paranormal at all. We were talking about her boyfriend who had passed away in a rock climbing accident. And suddenly, we saw a glob of white, misty smoke hovering above the bookshelf. It was shaped like a human figure, but it was hard to make out any features. The most bizarre part was that it was surrounded by neon green sparks, like zigzags in the air. After that sighting, even my skeptical roommate had to admit that there might be more to the paranormal than she thought.
That would just be cool to see.
Right? So it does seem like they're attracted to her. She says her son started having the same types of experiences with seeing ghosts. It started when he was 8 years old. And unfortunately, this particular sighting caused him a lot of panic, which is, I think, why he started sleeping in her room.
Oh.
She says, our next door neighbor was battling cancer, and he and his wife were very close to my family, particularly my son. One night, my son woke me up in a panic, telling me that he saw our neighbor walking through our living room walls, across the lawn, and then disappear into the neighbor's house. He was visibly shaken, and I could see the fear in his eyes. I tried to calm him down and reassure him that it was just his imagination. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. We found out the next day that our neighbor had passed away in his sleep. And she says that for days, her son didn't even want to go to the bathroom by himself. He was like glued to her side, which I don't blame.
Imagine at that age, though, that poor kid was just freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, he was absolutely terrified. And she said it took him a long time to recover from it and that they never talked about it.
That was always my rule back in the day. You remember, you know how it was and how I ruled the roost.
Right.
If any ghost, you want to fuck with me all day long, but you do not mess with my children.
Right.
Or it is ghosty game on. I don't care if you are an apparition, a dusty cloud, a shadow. I'm going to take your ass out if you fuck with my kids. You fuck with me all day. I will have fun with it. I am that person. Don't bug my kids, man.
Absolutely. You've always been like that. Very protective mama. I don't know if he had any experiences between that or if he blocked it out. But she says
he might have been so scared to block it out. That's the sad part.
Yeah, and that can be very powerful, particularly when they're that young. If you don't know what you're doing,
it can turn into a trauma.
Yeah, and you can set hardcore, powerful wards against things like that without even realizing what you're doing. So she says that about 5 years later, I remember hearing him scream in terror from his room. I ran to him and he was shaking uncontrollably. He told me that he saw a little girl in a white dress standing at the foot of his bed. The girl had long, dark hair and was staring right at him. After that, he would see this ghost daily, and it was too much for him to handle. He became too scared to even walk down the hallway, and one of us always had to go with him. The visions only stopped when a young girl that had been missing a few towns over was pulled from the lake a mile or so from our house. She had long, dark hair and was wearing a white dress.
So that little girl was probably trying to come to him to be found. There are ghosts that seek help, and this little girl was probably just looking for help. Please find me.
And because it was so close to their house, probably even though he had put up those walls, it had been 5 years and probably close to the same age. And she just went straight for the first person. Like you said, someone who would
They
answer.
know who's going to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said that she wishes he could open up about it and share his experiences with me, but he's become closed off about it. And as far as I know, has never seen another ghost.
Or is so traumatized, even if he did, he probably might not talk about it ever
Right.
again.
Or put, that trauma caused him to reinforce those wards, or, maybe it was, again, just the circumstances of her ghost being in such need and so close. And maybe those circumstances haven't repeated.
Also, maybe when he found out the real story that it was a missing girl that was found dead, by this point, this kid's a teenager. I mean, that fucks with you.
Yeah.
That fucks with you.
Yeah, it really can, for sure.
Oh, that poor boy. Oh, just let him know that it's okay and that he is not a weirdo. He is not a freak. He is a absolutely wonderful kid who just sees things that not everybody else does. So I got another one.
What you got, Shell?
I love the way this person signed off their name. The Apprehensive Camper.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
We are hardcore campers here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a little concerned that you're apprehensive, but you're still a camper, so it's okay. I'm just worried about reading this story to see what's making you apprehensive because I'm getting ready to go camping soon. And if you're going to make me scared to sleep in my tent, then damn it. Okay. So our apprehensive camper writes, last weekend, my parents' little sister and her kids moved into a big house. Me, my older sister, and my older sister's kids helped them move all weekend. The first day, all of the kids played hide and seek all afternoon in the mostly empty house as we moved carloads in. That first day, my 5-year-old nephew asked me to help him find a place to hide. There is a long hallway off of the living room with a big closet under the stairs, a bathroom, 3 bedrooms, and a linen closet at the end of that hall. I took him over to the closet under the stairs, but when I opened it, the light was burnt out, so he decided he didn't want to hide in there because he would be scared with no light.
Don't
Makes
blame him.
sense. I'm following you so far here,
I'm with him.
Apprehensive Camper. 3 days later, as they were mostly moved in, I sat down in the living room to take a break. The kids were all down in the hall in my nephew's room playing, and all of a sudden, all of the adults were outside or unpacking things in the garage. As soon as I sat down to check my phone, I see my 5-year-old nephew come from the hallway, open the door to the closet under the stairs, and close it behind him.
Well, that's weird.
I know, right? I am sitting maybe 10 feet from the closet with a direct view of it. I stare at the closet for a few seconds, waiting for him to come out because I know he's going to get scared in there. Then I hear what sounds like a single bang on the door.
Okay, that's creepy.
I know, right? So without taking my eyes off the closet, I get up and walk over to open it so I can help him find another place to hide. I open the door and no one is in there.
What the fuck?
Like, okay, so Apprehensive Camper has written from the get-go that she sees the kid go in there and did not take the eyes off the door.
Exactly.
No one's in there. No one's in there.
And if it's a typical under the stairs, like Harry Potter under the stairs type closet, they're not very big. There's really nowhere to hide.
Yeah, I mean, the closet was deep as it goes under the stairs, and at that point, the mom had put in a few boxes in the back that were full of Christmas decorations. Apprehensive Camper writes, I call out his name and look over and around the boxes, nothing. Then it occurs to me that I can faintly hear him and the other kids down the hall in his room playing.
Oh, no fucking way.
I walk down the hall and my nephew, his brother, sister, and cousins are all on the floor playing a game and have been for an hour. No one was playing hide and seek. So Apprehensive Camper starts freaking out a little bit, get some body chills. If you get the full body chills that it's something's going on.
What the hell did they see?
Runs to go tell the sisters. The older sister tells her that night before, when she was there helping them move, she heard her daughter frantically calling, Mom, 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 Mom. Her sister walked down the hall to the room her daughter was in and asked what was wrong. What did she need? And she goes, I didn't call for you. No one did.
What
but
the
my
hell?
sister swears it was her daughter's voice. Now, okay, first of all, you got those ghosts. You know that there's ghosts that impersonate people's voices, and it
That's
sounds like
fucked
this
up.
is one of them stories.
Why is it impersonating the kids? That's so fucked up. That's
So
fucked up, Chelle. That's fucked up.
they continue on. The house itself has some creepiness. The upstairs bedroom has a
Yeah,
big
no shit.
closet. Right? Newsflash.
Right? The kids were the first creepy clue.
So the upstairs bedroom has a big closet with a tiny door that leads to a tiny room. What the hell?
No, you that's a Coraline thing. You do not buy houses with tiny doors to tiny rooms. Some bitchy spider woman with buttons for eyes is going to come try and eat
You
your
know what the
soul.
realtor called it?
What?
A prayer room.
What?
Listeners, if you could see Layla's face right now,
Is
if I
this
could
a
just
thing?
a prayer room, I don't know. I'm not Christian, so I don't
Yeah,
know, but it
please, if
sounds
you
weird.
are Christian or no Christians, please let us know if a prayer room with a tiny door is
Is
a
a
thing.
thing. So it's a super creepy little room, but extra storage space, right? Well, the day they looked at the house to buy it, the 3-year-old niece kept calling it Annie's house.
Oh,
They don't
fuck.
they don't know anybody named Annie.
Oh, fuck. Who the fuck is Annie?
Also, the 3-year-old niece freaked out one night after staying there, saying she wanted to go home because there was a monster in the new house
Yeah, no shit.
in the ceiling vents.
Oh, that
Basically,
house is haunted, haunted.
Apprehensive Camper writes that they have never seen something so clearly that wasn't there, and physically saw the closet door open and shut by what they thought was their nephew, and it was not. And then, like, what the hell? So they're like these ghosts are kind of morphing into the kids. They're copying their voices.
That's so fucked up.
There's been instances of that happening. That's been documented before, where ghostly things, ghostly entities take on the shape or sounds of other entities. And can I just say, I don't know what religion you are, Apprehensive Camper, but call somebody.
Yeah, whatever you believe, call several of
Call
those
somebody.
people and have them come in. That house is fucked up. You need serious help there. Not to try and alarm you or anything, but get help now.
This is one of those situations. It sounds like a joke, a priest, a rabbi,
And a pagan high priestess. You need
no
all
way.
of them bitches in the house.
Yeah, anytime that a ghosty ghost is impersonating a real live human being,
You got some bad, bad shit going on up in there.
put it this way, the people you need to call aren't in the phone book. Wait, do they still have phone books?
I don't
Is phone
know.
book
Do they?
aging us? But like, you need to call somebody of a spiritual persuasion.
Yes, that you preferably believe in. It really honestly doesn't matter what it is as long as you personally believe in it.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV, but you need help. That's all. Good luck, Apprehensive Camper.
Yeah,
We're rooting
yeah.
for you.
Good luck. We are sending lots of energy your way because damn, that's
Damn.
scary.
And trust your kids when they say they see stuff there, because they
Oh
they
yeah.
might be seeing shit that you and your older sister aren't seeing. Just saying.
Get a couple cats and a dog, and if they're barking at nothing, get out.
Get out now.
That's right. That's pretty much our only advice. Get the fuck out now. And
Yeah.
burn the house behind. No, don't burn the house, but burn the house behind you.
When we read these listener stories, I try not to be like, oh, yeah, you should be really afraid. But this one, I
You
feel
should
like
be
you
really
should be
afraid.
really afraid.
Yeah, that one's got me really creeped out.
You have every reason to be apprehensive.
Yeah, go camping. You'll be better off in the woods. I'd rather
Right?
face bears than whatever the fuck entity is in your house.
Sounds like multiple entities. That's why I'm saying call your call your social worker, who do what you got to
Chelle,
do. Yeah.
we're on this. Okay? Get our tarot cards. We've done banishings before. We need to go. That's right. We will go. Email us.
I don't know if
We'll
I'd
bring
sleep.
all our shit. Well,
We'll
I'm
camp
not
in the
sleeping
yard.
there.
Yeah,
Fuck
we'll
no.
camp I'll camp in the yard, but I don't know if I want to be inside from that yard.
No. We'll do an investigation, then we'll cleanse it from top to bottom, and we'll
I
bring
would
back
even,
up.
I would even make another brand new homemade Ouija board for this.
Oh, hell yeah. We will make a specific one just for your house because it needs one. And we'll bring
This
lots of friends.
this probably has a portal to hell. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. I think there's definitely a portal to hell here. You could probably turn it into a haunted Airbnb at this point, but make people sign a waiver first.
And get the kids out. Get a dog.
Seriously.
All right, what's your next story?
This one is from Mascoot Scootma. And they say, first, the backstory for context. At the time of my paranormal experience, the neighborhood that our house is in was not the safest. It was a very lower income neighborhood in the heart of a large metropolitan city in the early stages of development and gentrification. When we moved in, 3 of the 5 houses bordering our property were legit drug houses. Not the good kind of drugs, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. In my neighborhood at that time, it was best to keep to yourself, mind your own business, and not bring any attention to yourself. I think I've lived there. Our immediate next door neighbors had constant traffic in and out of their house, and it was very obvious what was going on. Drugs. We always minded our business, but I tried to be cordial. And my neighbor was always polite, but we had very limited interaction. Sometimes the neighbor's customers would make me uncomfortable. 2 weeks after the paranormal experience that I'm about to share, we woke up in the middle of the night to a lot of commotion. When I looked out our bedroom window, I saw the cops raiding our neighbor's house. I found out later from news reports that the new owners were charged with distributing heroin, powder cocaine, fentanyl, and crack cocaine. Shit. They also had a large stock of illegal firearms, a significant amount of cash, and one of the individuals living there was on the run, wanted on murder and robbery charges, and he was hiding out in this house during the paranormal incident that I am about to describe. That's a one fuck of a backstory.
Jeez, if that's the backstory, what the fuck is the forestory?
Now to the paranormal part. So it was late one night, after midnight. My husband and dog were asleep in the bedroom. I was in the kitchen and bent over the trash can to take the bag out and take it to our recycling bin. When I was bent over the trash can, I felt what I thought was my husband walking right up behind me and lean over me like he was about to hug me. He's 6'3" and I'm 5'4", so he towers over me.
Like he was bending her over a trash can.
Yeah, like kind
I'm
of to
sorry,
give
I
her a
couldn't
hug
help
from
it.
yeah,
I'm
like
sorry.
So he's just giving her a hug, being funny, right? She thinks he's being funny. So she giggles and then was going to turn around quickly, like to hug him. And as she turns around, she says she sees a woman standing in the middle of the kitchen. And this woman put her hands out towards her with her palms open, like you would when you're telling someone
Like
to
stop.
And she glided or floated towards me while mouthing the word no. And when she got inches from me, she vanished into thin air. And one instant she was gliding towards me, the next she disappeared. And I didn't hear anything, but her face had an expression of panic. And even though I couldn't hear her yell, I could tell her mouth was screaming no. And it happened
That's weird.
She said it happened very quickly. And all she could recall was that the ghost was completely solid, not transparent at all. And that she was wearing a long black sleeve dress, kind of like a Wednesday Addams dress, right? Like black dress with the white collar and buttons up the front.
Uh-huh.
Her eyes were blue and she had thick curly hair. So in the span of a few seconds, she completely saw what looked like a full-on person right there. And she says she was in shock and disbelief and just kind of stood there for a couple seconds. And then she ran into her bedroom. So obviously her husband was not behind her when she felt someone kind of grab her from behind.
Right.
Because she ran into her bedroom and was screaming for her husband to wake up. So she tells her husband she thinks someone's in the house. And he grabs his gun from the nightstand and runs out. And shortly after that, her dog, a 90-pound pit bull, woke up and started growling and barking at the doorway to the bedroom. And he got between her and the doorway and kept barking and growling at nothing in the bedroom door.
Here's your sign, people.
Her husband was calling for the dog to come search the house with him.
He wouldn't go with him, would he?
He would not go, which is, she says, is very out of character for the dog.
Yeah, because he was protecting his owner. You just couldn't see from what?
Exactly. So her husband checked the entire house and not one of the doors or windows was open or broken. There was no sign of any intruder. And she, at this point, knows it's a spirit and tells her husband that. She says her husband's a skeptic and started picking on her because she woke him up for a ghost story. He asked her to explain what had happened. And she started with, she thought she had felt him all the way to seeing this woman. And he says she was just overtired and stressed out and to go back to bed. So the next time she tells her mother, because her mother would understand. Apparently she grew up in a haunted house and it was pretty common for them to see ghosts in their house. So when she got to the part where she described the ghost that she had seen.
Who is it?
Damn it. It was her grandmother.
Oh, okay.
When she described the woman, her mother was shocked because it was Mascoot's great-grandmother, Gabriella.
That she had never met, I take, because she didn't recognize her.
Met. No, and her mother had been, it was her mother's grandmother. So, and her mother had been extremely close to her. The only photos, I guess, had been lost in the 50s. So there wasn't even any photographs that she could have seen and like forgotten about that was stuck in her memory. her mother said that she still had her grandmother's dress. And it was a dress that her grandmother had, this Mascoot's great grandmother, she had made herself and wore it all the time. And so Mascoot took a state away to go see her mother and her grandmother to tell them what had happened. And they looked around all around in the attic for the dress. And they did find it. And of course, when they pulled it out, it was the exact dress that she had seen the ghost wearing. They believe, after talking about it, that the ghost was trying to prevent her from taking the garbage out that night. And they weren't sure why. But she did know that there was a lot of crime happening around her house. So she believes that ghost was trying to prevent her, for whatever reason, from going out at that moment. So it was 2 weeks later that the cops raided the house. But she thinks that maybe something had happened that night that was possibly the reason why they decided to raid the house. But for whatever reason, she feels that something dangerous was going on outside her door. And her great-grandmother stopped her from going.
And again, that's the second one where the ghostie stops kind of impending danger or impending disaster.
Yep. And hooray for great-grandmothers. They are wonderful here and in the afterlife.
I am a great, as in spectacular, grandmother.
Yeah, you are.
So I got one more for you.
Go for it.
This one is a little weird because anytime that someone feels disturbed, it's unsettling.
Yeah.
We kind of joke and we're totally into this, but when someone is really jarred, that's definitely not cool. My final story tonight is from Sarah Kay. When Sarah was 13 years old, her mom bought a large bedroom furniture set from the neighbors down the road. The neighbors made it clear that they wanted the set to stay together. That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Why would they care?
I know, right? But it was too big to fit in Sarah's room, so they had to split it up. At first, everything seemed fine. That's how it all starts. At first, everything's fine.
Oh, no.
So strange things start happening. One night, Sarah heard weird knocks and noises, but dismissed them as imagination. We've all done that.
Yeah.
That was until Sarah saw a door move on its own.
Oh, shit.
Searched for her cat, thinking it was the cat, but the cat was asleep on the grandma's bed. So she could kind of tell it was if something or someone had moved that door.
Yeah.
What she found a little more disturbing was she was looking for a Chinese takeout menu on the fridge, but instead found something that looked like it had been written in dirt. And it was a child's handwriting, and the only word that Sarah could make out was mommy.
What the fuck?
There were other letters there, but Sarah couldn't understand them. She was completely freaked out, and no matter how much she tried to wash it off, it wouldn't come off.
Okay. Now, I know you can't see my eyes right now because I'm so flippin' stoned. However, do you see my, I don't understand face? So I also keep menus on my refrigerator sometimes. So I get that part. And kids' art on the refrigerator, I get that. But is she saying that there was, a new,
Yes.
kids' picture, drawn in dirt? Fucking A. That's fucking creepy.
And all I said was mommy.
Oh, no. That's bad.
No, the worst part is when they try to get it off and it won't come off, then you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, that's bad.
Strange occurrences. Didn't stop there. So,
oh, shit. Did they connect it to the furniture yet?
Not yet. Every now and then, Sarah would see shadow people outside of their room or outside of the window.
Oh, shit.
It never felt negative or mean or bad, but Sarah always felt uneasy.
Well, yeah.
Years went by, and Sarah eventually moved out of her childhood home and left the furniture set behind, but always had a feeling that it was still with her in some way. So one night she had a terrible nightmare. She was in her new apartment and the shadow person was there looming over her.
Followed her to the new apartment?
Followed her. Followed her.
Creepy.
So she wakes up, realizes it was a dream and was okay. But then this is where you need to just take a big old hit off that pipe.
I'm ready.
So she wakes up, she realizes it's a dream, but then saw a faint message written in dirt on her dresser, and it just said mommy.
Oh, no, you did not just say that. No.
Sarah was terrified.
I'm terrified.
I'm glad you wrote you were terrified, because if this was my story, I would have wrote, and then I started shitting myself.
Yeah, that's a polite way to say what I would do. Holy fucking crap, that's
Yeah,
creepy.
the furniture set followed her to her new apartment. She couldn't shake the feeling that the shadow person was still watching her and kind of a part of that. So
No.
I think she finally, like, two and two kind of clicked, and she eventually got rid of the furniture set.
Did she tell them to keep it together?
She didn't say that, but damn it. Sarah, please tell me however you got rid of that you told him to keep it together, just like how you got
Right?
it. But she states that the memories and the fear have stayed with her ever since she got rid of the furniture set. She doesn't know what caused the strange happenings, but she has no explanation for it. And she kind of ended her story there, but the way she ended it made it kind of alluded to once she got rid of the furniture set, it all stopped. Because she said that, the memories of it and the fear of it stayed with her. So it sounds like
Wow.
when she got rid of the furniture set that the shit stopped happening.
No shit.
So this is another case where sometimes they attach themselves to objects. Kind of the ghost travels with the object, because that's also known to happen.
Now, see, these people told her to keep it together, so they at least gave a little warning.
I would have gone and been pounding on my neighbor's door and been like, what the
Yeah.
fuck did you just sell me?
I'm going to give a big fuck you to the people that sold her this for not warning her. Now, when I am the weird, crazy aunt that gives out all the cool haunted objects, I will obviously tell people to watch out for them and why.
Leave a little
I
note
mean,
in the drawer.
that's right. You give them a fucking heads up at least. They can break your rules themselves, but you at least got to give them the rules.
If I'm going to give you some ghosty paraphernalia, I'm going to at least tell you what you're in for.
Right? And I'm a little disappointed that she did not tell the next people, at least to keep it together. I mean, she didn't even give them that little tidbit. So
Right?
I have to give you I mean, I understand you're under some trauma, so I'm not giving you a fuck you, but I'm going to wag my finger at you. That's irresponsible, ghosty, ownership. It was bad.
Bad neighbor.
That's right, bad neighbor. You could have called our friend Zach Bagans. He's got that whole thing, and you could have sent it to his museum. That would be the responsible thing. Or us, because I'm going to give it away to my nieces and nephews and various random children.
Sarah's family should have known when you sell something to somebody and they say, you must keep this together. You
Right?
need to start asking questions like, why?
Where are these garage sales where people are finding mysterious objects that have strange requirements that go along with them? Why don't I ever find these things?
There needs to be a Facebook group for paranormal garage sales.
If you have ever bought a paranormal item at a garage sale, please email us at thestonedwitcheshour@gmail.com.
Because we love other people's shit.
Right, exactly. All right, so I have one last story myself, and this one is a very short one, and it is also a grandma story. This one is very sweet, and it goes like this. This is from Mia. And Mia says, I'll never forget the strange encounter I had with the paranormal after my grandmother passed away when I was just 15 years old. We were incredibly close, and her death hit me hard. She had passed away on the toilet, and in an effort to make light of the situation, I would joke that she had gone out like Elvis.
That is something you can really roll with. I'm not going to lie.
Especially if you're used to joking with your grandmother,
Yeah.
She says, a few days after her passing, I was sitting on the toilet when suddenly the bathroom lights turned off. It wasn't a simple burned out bulb, as something had physically flipped the switch. I was frozen in place, trying to make sense of what had just happened, when I saw a faint blue light shoot out the window. It was such an eerie experience that it left me feeling spooked. Even though the encounter was unsettling, I couldn't help but welcome any sort of paranormal activity. I was always curious about the afterlife and what happens to us when we die. As I walked out of the bathroom, I saw my 5-year-old sister looking at me with a serious expression. Without prompting, she spoke up and said, Grandma was just at the end of the bed. She told me to tell you she said hi and she is sorry for turning off the lights.
Oh, wow.
That moment will stay with me forever. Despite the initial shock of the lights turning off and the blue light shooting out the window, hearing that message from my grandmother through my little sister was incredibly comforting. It made me feel like she was still with us in some way, watching over us from the other side.
I have another ghosty rule. Aside from the don't fuck with my kids, ghosty rule number 2, do not Like the bathroom is a private place. And I don't give a shit what existent plane you live on or what existent realm you are coming to and fro. You do not go into the bathroom when someone is in there. I don't care what your reasoning is. You just don't do it.
I'm going to give this grandma a pass because even though Mia doesn't say it, they must have had a joking relationship, because if you're going to joke that your grandmother had passed like Elvis, you had to have had that kind of jokey relationship in
You
life.
should still be able to pee by yourself. Lord.
But again, what is it with the ghost at the end of the bed? How eerie that her little sister saw grandma at the end of the bed. It's so wild. I loved this one.
I saw my first ghost at the end of my bed when I was 10 years old. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, I also saw a ghost at the end of my bed that turned out to be my great-grandmother.
I still to this day, and it was my grandfather, and I loved him dearly.
Yeah.
But I can't sleep with my feet uncovered, and it's all PTSD from seeing my grandpa when I was 10 at the end of my bed. If my feet go uncovered, I wake right up.
Well, I'm going to put it right out there. Jennie May, I love you. I miss you. And if you want to come stand at the end of my bed and say hi, you are absolutely welcome.
All hail the traveler.
All hail the traveler. So thank you all for listening to our stories today. I hope you've been thrilled and chilled and had a little bit of ghosty fun along with us. It was definitely spine tingling. These are some of the best ones I think we've been sent.
And if you're a new listener, definitely send us some stories. We love hearing your stories. We love reading them on the air. So if you are new to us and are aware of this storybook concept, send us what you got. We want to hear about it.
Absolutely. We always love hearing your stone stories, your ghosty stories. Send them all to us, thestonedwitcheshour@gmail.com, and maybe we'll choose them for the next book of your stories. So I hope you've all enjoyed, and I need to repack this bowl.
Yeah, I definitely need to pack another big fatty. So why don't y'all just keep it high and keep it witchy.
Later.